take it off. It looks all stupid.
Welcome back. As we do each morning at this time on In the Can, we like to talk to some of the luminaries from the Sundance Institute who do so much of the work to make this festival an incredible event each and every year. This morning, it's Jarom Rowland. He is with the Film and Music Composition Department. I guess that's probably not the right word, but I'll use it for now as a placeholder, and we'll talk a little bit about the formal relationship between film and music within the Sundance Institute. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Great to meet you.
You too.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
How are you resting at all? Are you
I am actually. Yeah.
You look good.
Oh, thank you.
I always try to start with a compliment at the beginning of an interview. Talk a little bit about your role. You just mentioned that you work year-round with the Institute, which is a lot of folks that just kind of staff up and ramp up for the festival itself. But
yeah.
Being in LA, talk about your role.
Yeah, so it's the film music program, one of the smaller parts of the Sundance Institute. Similar to how we support directors and screenwriters, we also do the same for composers. So we run a series of workshops we call our creative labs, where we bring composers, connect them with directors from our feature film program, and then also our documentary program. Yeah, and then I program music here at the festival, so those are kind of my two halves of the year.
So you sort of, is it fair to say that you do sort of a more intellectually fulfilling role for most of the year, and then you get over kind of to the art side where it's event, performance, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's very much that way, yeah. Sundance here is all about the music, rock and roll, doing live shows, meeting artists, connecting those artists to filmmakers here, yeah, so it's kind of quiet and then, yeah, crazy.
And talk a little bit about the labs and the kinds of things that you do. I guess curriculum is the word that comes to mind, but talk about these gifted, already educated composers, I'm sure, but
absolutely.
into film.
Well, the labs have been a long time supported by BMI, who's one of our biggest allies kind of in the film music world. We bring 4 or 5 fellows, is what we call them, up. You know, one of the best things I think about the labs is our creative advisor presentation. So we bring in a series of mentors, and we managed to get, you know, Thomas Newman, Danny Elfman, James Newton Howard, some of the biggest guys in the game, and they offer up insights. They basically do, you know, an hour-and-a-half talk with 6 people, and you know, it's an open floor. They get to talk about their process, any questions. It's just, you know, you're engaging with these top-name mentors in an incredible way. And then we also put them through kind of composer boot camp. They have to write a cue, I think, about every day and a half, so for about a week.
And something that I'm fascinated by with regard to just say the category of film composition is that on one hand it's a broad, wide street, I would presume, in terms of where people come from. Classically trained composers who have experience writing for orchestras or many pieces versus, and I don't mean to stereotype a guy like Danny Elfman, but you know, obviously coming from Oingo Boingo, incredibly gifted guy, but from a more pop music format, that sort of thing. Do you still continue to see that kind of a variety among the people who become fellows and come to the labs?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, there's a lot of focus still on sort of classic approach to film music, but yeah, you're seeing a lot of that. You know, recently Alex Ebert won the Golden Globe for composition from Edward Sharpe in the Magnetic Zero. So you're seeing a lot of, everybody wants to get in the film music game. Everybody wants to make movies with filmmakers, and I think that's what's happening, you know. But you can't count out the classic approach to film music, you know. So a bunch of these pop stars, only 1 or 2 Danny Elfmans will.
I was going to say, everybody wants to be Danny Elfman.
We'll continue on. Yeah, you've seen a lot of that. Trent Reznor, you know, he came out a couple years ago and started doing it, but you know, I think it's not an easy transition. It's not as easy as people think that it is. Just because, you know, you're a musician, you can play, you know, you can play guitar. It doesn't mean you can necessarily transition into film music.
Right, and even being a great songwriter isn't necessarily.
Yeah, they're very different tools. Of course, they help each other out, but yeah.
And talk a little bit about, this is something that just occurred to me, talk about maturity with regard to the people who are participants, because obviously in the realm of pop music we see a lot of people who are prescient and gifted from an early age, and if they're good performers they can go be famous and be very popular, but film composition I would think is such a more sort of ruminating, and it's a lot more volume. It's a lot. I would think it's a lot harder to write a film score than it is to write a 37-minute pop album.
I think it depends on the artist. But our fellows, you know, that's what's interesting about our group is we use the term emerging artists quite a bit around here at the Institute. And our composers are definitely emerging artists, but some of them have been working in film music for 15 years, 20 years, working on commercials, video games. So, and then we've had fellows who literally have never scored a film yet, you know, we're jazz musicians. So we have, you know, different, all sides, a different approach. We kind of try to have some diversity in that regards, but yeah.
And has the role, you alluded to it a little bit in your initial comments when you said, well, we're kind of one of the smaller programs within Sundance, and of course as a musician myself, I say, Balderdash, you are the most important. But
well, yeah, I mean, we're small staffing-wise. We've the program has actually been around since 1997, led by Peter Golub, who's the director of the film music program and also an amazing composer in his own right. But no, a lot of people don't realize that Sundance does that for composers and musicians, and that we do what we do here at the festival. A lot of people just, you know, are focused on the directing labs and the screenwriting labs, which are fabulous. But yeah, we do great composing labs and also native labs. So we're kind of, us in the native program, we're the two little babies. The
little engines that could.
But again, we've been around for, you know, 16, 17 years.
And is there any sort of a, I don't know, to use a filmic term, a narrative arc in terms of where you expect not only the program, but Sundance's involvement with film composition is going into the future?
Well, you know, actually last year we partnered with Skywalker Sound, and we went up and ran the labs at Skywalker Ranch, which was really exciting, and brought in this whole element of sound design. So it was now a music and sound design lab, which was fabulous. And you know, we really pushing early collaboration between directors, you know, composers, sound designers, which is, you know, kind of crazy.
Not make the film and hand it off.
Yeah, you don't think about those things in a pre-production, you know, as a storytelling tool rather than just post-production. And then here at the festival, you know, we just want to make music bigger, better. We want a bigger piece of the music real estate up here. You know, there's so much happening.
No question.
We have our hands on a good portion of that, but I want to, you know, I want to bring as many new artists out here and connect those artists. You know, what the music programming here at the festival is, ASCAP, the cafe, the music cafe, and the events here we do here, are to connect, of course, with audiences, but then also to connect musicians and those kind of artists with directors, and kind of, you know, stir the creative pot. And
do you have some formal meetings where those kinds of things take place, where you select from those two pools, or is it more of an informal thing?
It's a kind of an informal, you know, thing. We try to just kind of push people together and kind
introduce
of kind
people
of
that would get
help
it together,
make it happen. You know, kind of cast spells and figure out if it works. Yeah. So, but it's been good. It's been good so far.
Well, I just have to say, I think I'm kind of jealous of your job.
Yeah, I'm jealous of your earrings.
Well, it's great to talk with you. Keep up the great work. This is, like I say, this is a personal thing to me. It's a very important piece within film, and it's one of the things that I do most when I go to see a film is to hear a film. So the work that you all are doing, especially at this really high level with so many gifted people in town, I just think it's fantastic. Also, I can't help but mention that I think you probably made a few million Star Wars fanboys jealous when you said you went and hung out at Skywalker Sound.
For sure.
Jarom, Rowland,
hey,
nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch. Let's do the business card thing.
Absolutely.
We'll talk again soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, quick break. We have got to get at the film reviews and conversations happening. We'll be right back. I believe we're going to start with the film about Pamela Smart right after this. Please stay tuned to In the Can on Park City Television.